Hello. Welcome to the Nerdy Folks Podcast, where conversations about nerdy things inspire greater faith in Jesus. My name is Matthew Seipel Anderson. I'm the host of the show and pastor to the nerd community. Today is part 2 of our interview with Mr. Scott Miner of realmmakers.com. And just a reminder, the Realmmakers Writing Conference and Fan Expo is taking place on July 18th through the 20th at Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's an amazing event, and we are about to talk all about it, and you can learn more about it and purchase tickets at realmmakers.com. So without further ado, let's jump into our conversation with Mr. Scott Miner, and make sure you stick around to the end to hear Scott quote some sweet Shakespeare.
Our keynote speakers for the Writers' Conference are Sarah Arthur. She's an author of fantasy. She's got a couple fantasy books that are part of a trilogy that are currently in process and being published. And she's also the author of a couple devotionals that surround the characters of the Lord of the Rings, right? Like Walking with Frodo, right? Or Walking with Bilbo are a couple devotionals that she's written with a fun fantasy Lord of the Rings kind of twist. N.D. Wilson is another keynote speaker. He's been writing fantasy for a long time. I think his breakout hit was 100 Cupboards quite a few years ago. But he's written several series, the Outlaws of Time series, and right now he's writing the 4th book in his Ashtown Burial series, but he's also a filmmaker. He was at the very beginning of creating the House of David, which has been so successful on, that's through the Wonder Project, but delivered on Amazon Prime just over the last few weeks. He also created The Riot and the Dance, which is a Christian worldview nature documentary. And they've done The Riot and the Dance Water as well. That's also on the Angel Guild now. So, and then our third keynote speaker is S.D. Smith, same as the author of the Green Ember series, which is a tremendously successful series among homeschoolers, among people who enjoy a good read-aloud book that is exciting and also accessible to all the children in your family and enjoyable for the adults. And he's also going to be performing Green Ember live as one of the special events for the Expo.
Oh.
So on Sunday at 1 o'clock after lunch, I hope to have over 1,000 people there for Green Ember Live in the big ballroom. And it's going to be an amazing experience for families and all of their children. And we've got a lot of other guests. We've got a Disney animator, Tony Bancroft, is going to be there. If you enjoyed the characters of Pumbaa from Lion King, or Iago from Aladdin, or Cogsworth the Clock from Beauty and the Beast, Tony Bancroft is involved in all that. And there's a new project called Light of the World, which is like, it is the Jesus story, but it's 2D animation. So a lot of people have seen King of Kings. That was 3D animation. Light of the World would be like, if you come to the Expo, you'll see a preview. It comes out in September of this year. But if you were a student of a child of the 80s, there are some little Easter eggs in this movie I'm not going to give up any of them. If you go to our website, you'll see a trailer, and there's one big Easter egg that just points to popular culture in the early 80s. Might have been the late 70s, honestly. But anyways, I digress, right? So, if you're a Christian and you love, quoting the Princess Bride constantly, then you want to come to Realmakers Expo. We had the creator of League of Legends, right? Alex Magnus Lehman he goes by Magnus, is he's the director of creative development for MMO R&D at Riot Games.
Wow.
He's going to be there. Christian communities like Geeks Under Grace, Christian Geek Central, Love Thy Nerd are going to be represented there. And some independent authors, Seth Ring, Jeff Wheeler has had tremendous success as a fantasy author. He's going to be there teaching at the Writers' Conference. And also Brent Weeks. He is one of our New York Times best-selling fantasy authors, totally in the general market. He writes pretty dark fantasy, and he did our keynote for the first time in 2019. He joined us along with Terry Brooks, who was our guest of honor that year. And even at that level of like every book you've ever written being a New York Times bestseller, he was so excited to discover that there was a tribe of Christian authors writing in these genres. And he's going to come back for the third time in 2025, just mentoring the authors and being our guest for a couple signings in the Expo.
Did I cut you off? That sounds amazing. But
just one more. I'm so excited that Mike Naraki is coming. He's been joining us at homeschool conventions for the last 4 years. Most people don't recognize his name when mentioning Mike Naraki, who I get so excited about, but most people know him by his character, Larry the Cucumber.
Oh!
Right, so he's one of the co-creators of VeggieTales, along with it's him and Phil Vischer created VeggieTales, and he's going to be joining us again at the Expo, and so excited to have him there. All these people are just so generous and fantastic people. I love serving them, and I love introducing them to their fans. And so that's really what's going to be exciting about the Expo, bringing thousands of fans from the greater Grand Rapids area and the whole country, honestly. The first two people to buy tickets were in North Carolina and in Washington State.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
I mean, if Larry the Cucumber doesn't get you to come out, come on, what will?
I know.
Something you mentioned was mentoring authors, and that's a big part of Realm Makers really all year round, but there are some really specific things for authors at the Writers' Convention as far as mentorship. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, when someone registers for the Writers' Conference, it comes with a lot of perks. Booking pitch appointments with agents or editors, and also mentoring appointments with, in some cases, some of those same agents and editors take mentoring appointments where there isn't the burden of having to pitch your manuscript, but really just pick their brain for 15 minutes and learn what you need to learn and what you don't know so that you can come back a year later and successfully pitch your manuscript and hopefully get published. So there are publishing opportunities at the Realm Makers Writers Conference. And we are committed to, like, instead of at the other Christian Writers Conferences where maybe the publisher does publish fantasy or science fiction, but that acquisitions editor isn't there. And the one who is says, no fantasy, no speculative, right? No science fiction. And you really have no options for learning how to pitch your manuscript. Everyone who attends Realm Makers, every faculty member, every agent or editor is looking for or is an expert in speculative fiction. So that's a tremendous benefit. The relationships that you develop with the other people who are at the conference, this year's friend that you met at the awards dinner is next year's Realm Award winner.
Sure.
And now it's like, I know them. They're my friend, right? And it brings you closer into the heart of our community. The mentoring relationships that are presented at the conference, it depends on what you need. You might be pitching your manuscript to one of the leading agents in fantasy and science fiction, but you also might want to set up a mentoring appointment with another an editor because you've got an indie project you're doing, or you want to learn how to market and create your own brand. It is tremendously helpful to go to events, to go to professional conferences like Realm Makers, no matter what you do.
That just sounds amazing. Can you speak a little bit to what you guys have going on all year with the Realm Makers community stuff on your website?
Yes. So we started a membership program in 2018 on our website, and that was relatively successful at being able to bring in a community 365 days a year. But when 2020 hit and everything had to go virtual, a lot more demand was placed on us to solve this problem of how do you develop and maintain a strong community 365 days a year online. How do you do that? And that was in conjunction with like, how do you do an event that's typically delivered live and do that online? But what that birthed was we call it the Realm Sphere, and it is a private social network that is all realm makers all the time, no advertising, no politics, no anything other than Christian authors of fantasy and science fiction, and now the fans. We've started some fan content available in the Realm Sphere, so anybody can come to the Realm Makers private social network. We had to put something in place so that real estate agents weren't joining and just with not needing any approval. So we do ask a few
Lovely
questions.
hobbit hole for
But if you
sale
go to our
on.
website, yeah, we're getting some spam coming into the or bots. We've expunged all of the bots and the profiles that were not actually authors or at least fans or someone who is interested in Christians writing fantasy and science fiction. So we offer membership programs like subscription levels as well. So it's free to join, but there are also subscription levels. If you want to join a critique group or join a regional group or dig deeper into your writing and professional community, you can participate with webinars and educational opportunities through that. We deliver all that through the Realm Sphere. Most people are familiar now with listening to their favorite podcast, and then you hear it's like, well, now we're going to the member segment, right? If you are a subscribing member, then you're going to get to watch the rest of this. But if you're watching out on YouTube, well, the podcast is ending for you. If you want to see the rest of what's coming on and the rest of our interview, join our subscription group. That's kind of what we've started, except it's also, it has a free level as well. So depending on where you are in your publishing journey or how interested you are as a fan, like we've started a book club for fans and some of the authors that are published in our group and award winners of the Realm Award. And how fun is that to have a book club where every book that you read, you get to cap it all off with a live stream with that author.
Yeah, that's amazing. That sounds like a load of fun.
Yeah. And so we've got almost 2,300 authors and now fans in the Realm Sphere. And we're able to have a much stronger control is the right word, but it's not for the purpose of excluding people. It's more for the purpose of keeping everything on focus.
Right.
Everybody knows you've got a group in Facebook. Oftentimes things can just go nuts, haywire. People are commenting and bringing in other irrelevant conversations into your group, and it ends up reflecting on you, even though it's just kind of the general public.
Right.
So we're able to more effectively direct the conversations and allow in certain parts of the realm sphere, free chat, to just say what you'd like. But we've been able to maintain a much more civil discourse, even though much of what we do really courts controversy.
Well, it sounds like you've got an amazing thing going on. So much community building, so much content being created, and so much helpful stuff for creatives. I mean, inspiration and teaching, training. It sounds awesome. The big conference, the big event is happening July 18th through the 20th, Grand Rapids, Michigan. You can get tickets and find more information at realmmakers.com. I wanted to ask one more question before we end off our conversation, going kind of in a different direction, but a fun direction. So you have got a lot of experience with Shakespeare. In previous conversations, we talked about how you did some theater programs for kids with Shakespeare. So what are some of your favorite Shakespearean quotes to send us off today?
Oh my goodness!
That's opening up. That's opening up a can.
Why this is one of my favorites? I can't tell you why this is one of my favorites. I just heard it and it just melted into my head and never let go. It's Jaques, the clown from As You Like It. He says, "More, more, I prithee more. I can suck melancholy out of a song as a weasel sucks eggs."
I love it.
So, and that, if I may, that quote follows up a more famous quote where people would say, "If music be the food of love, play on." As though it was like, music is the food of love and just keep doing it, right? Whereas in reality, this person, if you follow the quote further, they're saying the opposite. If music be the food of love, play on. Let me surfeit of it, so that the appetite may sicken and so die. Right? Because he's heartbroken. Right? So he's like, if music is the food of love, play on so I can think of this.
That's amazing.
It's just beautiful, beautiful. And expressing disgust, it's beautiful. And expressing, just play me to death, play music till I dead.
And it's a great way to end this conversation, because these kind of works of art can express something that hits us in such a profound way, whereas a bland statement like, I'm heartbroken and I'm just sick of everything, it just doesn't have the same power. But, all these years later, we're still quoting Shakespeare, and it's still moving us deeply. And hopefully authors that are coming to your events and are going to continue to be inspired to create works that are going to do great things out in the world for the Lord, really.
Thank you so much, Matthew. This has been a real treat, and I appreciate the invitation to join you here in your podcast and meet a lot of your nerdy folks, because that's what we're all about.
The pleasure is all ours. Thanks so much, Mr. Miner, for being on the show. It was awesome hanging out and talking. And for all of you, thanks so much for listening. And if you love what we're doing on the show, please consider supporting us. The easiest way to do that is to look for the giving links in the show notes. There are a variety of ways for you to give. Hey, until next time, love you, take care, God bless, bye-bye.